All right, first off, we want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach, Wamalak, Yahweh Shai. That's all honor and glory to the Most High God through His Son, who the world inwardly called Jesus Christ, and of course the Holy Spirit. Right, we're back at it again with another Shabbat class. Right, this one is entitled "Be Like Our Foremothers, Not Like the Children of Babylon." Right, so this one is really it's really for the sisters more than anybody else, man. Now, don't get me wrong. Men can learn a lot from our foremothers as well, but we kind of trying to address this because we feel like that it's a necessary thing, man. Right? A lot of our, videos and classes, we don't really cater to that situation, right? So we're going to cater to that a little bit more today, and Lord willing, somebody will be edified, right? So I'm gonna kick it off with an opening precept in the book of Job. Right, it's the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8, and it reads, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to search the search of their fathers." Right? So literally, you got to inquire of the former age and prepare to search for your fathers, right? Or your mothers, right? You got to prepare for those things, right? You have to inquire of the things of the past and understand what way you should be moving in, right? Let's get another one. Let's go to the book, right, of Jeremiah. Right? It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, and verse number 16. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old past, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein." Right? So you should literally be looking for the old paths and walking that way, in the good way. Right? So we bringing out today the ways that our sisters should be walking in, and how brothers also should be taking heed to these ways as well, and picking up on some of these ways as well. Right? So let me kick it off, right, with 1 Samuel, and Hannah. Right? It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 1. Right? This is 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 5. And it reads, But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but the Most High had shut up her womb." Right? So our foremother Hannah, right, her womb was shut up. And she was unable to have children. Right? And Elkanah's other wife used to mock her. Right? And she didn't try to fight the other wife. She didn't try to beat her up. Right? She didn't try to go crazy on her. Right? Let's see what she did. Right? And her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Most High had shut up her womb. And he did so year by year when she went up to the house of the Most High. So she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. Right? I'm going to jump down to verse number 9. So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon the seat by a post of the temple of the Most High. And she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto the Most High, and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Yahweh of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Most High all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. Right? So in her affliction, she besought the Most High. Hey, she wept unto the Most High. She prayed unto the Most High. Right? She didn't get carnal. Right? She didn't just kind of forget that the Most High was the most powerful being. What she did was go directly unto the Most High and sought him out, right, in the matter, right? And she prayed unto him and asked him for what she was in need of, right? That's a very righteous thing, right? A lot of times, right, a lot of our sisters, they tend to get emotional and they forget to seek the Most High. Instead, they react in their emotion instead of seeking out the Most High. Hannah, instead of doing that, she sought the Most High. Right? And she prayed unto the Most High and wept unto the Most High. Right? I'm going to read on. So she said, if you give me a man child, hey, no razor come upon his head, and I will give him unto you for all the days of his life. Right. So I'm gonna jump down to verse number. Let me see. Number 20. Wherefore it came to pass when the time was come about after Hannah had conceived that she bare a son and called his name Samuel, saying, because I have asked him of the Most High. And the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer the Most High the yearly sacrifice and his vow. But Hannah went not up, for she said unto her husband, I will not go up until the child be weaned, and then I will bring him, that he may appear before the Most High, and there abide forever. And Elkanah her husband said unto her, do as seemeth good. Tarry until thou hast weaned him. Only the Most High established his word. So the woman abode and gave her son suck until he was weaned. Right? And I'm going to jump down to verse 28. Therefore, also, I'm going to read 27 context. For this child I prayed. Right? She's speaking unto the Lord. And the Most High hath given me my petition which I asked of him. Therefore also have I lent him to the Most High. As long as he liveth, he shall be lent to the Most High. And he worshiped the most, and he worshiped the Most High there, right? So literally, she promised to give him unto the Most High. And imagine that you went your whole life wanting a child, right? That's all you want. You just want to bear a child. You pray unto the Most High, which was a righteous act instead of doing anything else, right? And you tell the Most High, hey, just give me a son and I'll give him to you, right? I won't even raise him. I'll give him to you, right? Hey, you know how many people would have went back on that when they're looking at their son, kind of beholding them with their eyes? You know how many people would have been like, I know I said that I was going to give him up to the Lord, but I just can't give my baby up. Hey, man, she gave her son over to the Most High, man. She gave him just like she said she was going to do. She kept her word and her promise unto the Most High, right? This is chapter 2, right, in verse 21, right? After she had given her son unto the Most High. It says what? And Yahweh visited Hannah so that she conceived and bare 3 sons and 2 daughters. And the child Samuel grew before the Most High, right? So not only did the Lord bless her with that initial son, once she showed and proved her faith in the Most High and by holding her word and giving that son unto the Most High, the Lord bare her 5 more children and 3 sons out of that, man. So Hannah is a very, 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 very mighty sister that we should be looking at, man. She showed many mighty works in that. She showed mighty works in her faith in the Most High initially by calling and praying on him to the Most High when she was in her affliction. She showed mighty works by giving her son up after she finally got a son after waiting on it for many years, man. Right? And then the Lord blessed her with what? 5 more children, man. Right? So sisters got to look at that. Brothers got to look at that, man, because that's a testimony of faith, man, and belief in the Most High. Right? And with that, I yield.
Con, I'll get in there. Right? And this is one thing we got to realize, man. Right? Not only do the men play an important role, but the women as well. Right? So do the young women. Right? Because the young girls, they're going to grow up to be the future women of our nation. Right, the future wives of our young prophets, man. The future wives of young priests, man. So we got to make sure all things are set in order, man. You can't just constantly work on the windows of a house, but you never work on the doors, right? You got to work on everything, man. Right? I'm gonna get this right quick. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 36 and verse 24. He that getteth a wife, right, beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. Hey, so some women, they're going to be a pillar of rest unto our people, man. Right? And that's what the Most High has designed everything to be, man. Right? Since the very beginning, he said what? Adam, he said this is too much work for Adam, man. So what he gave him, what? A helpmeet, man. Somebody can help him do what he has to do to fulfill his works, man. A pillar of rest, if you will, man. Right? And a lot of our people, we got to understand that everybody has a job in this thing, man. And we don't want to degrade anybody's job or status, man. Right? This is the book of Sirach, again, chapter 26 and verse, do I want 26 or do I want, I'm going to get 26, man. It says, Sirach chapter 26 and verse 1, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, right? For the numbers of his days shall be doubled, A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years, of his life in peace. A good a good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord. Right. So, a virtuous woman is given by the hands of the Most High God, man. And as men, we're required to take care of the things the Most High give to us, man. Right. And as the women, y'all supposed to take care of y'all households, man. All of this stuff goes one in according, man. Right. So I just wanted to get those precepts. I'm gonna pass it on to the next brother. Start.
Mighty precepts, mighty precepts, right? Let me kick it off with the book of Proverbs, chapter 14 and verse number 1. Because, as individuals in the same, we got to take care of our households as our temples, right? On a physical and a spiritual level, right? But this chiefly for the women. This is Proverbs 14 and 1. It says, every wise woman buildeth her house. Right, it said a wise woman, meaning somebody that take heed to the commandments of the Lord, somebody who applies the law, statute, commandments, and the understanding. It says, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Now, what is your house? Your house is the temple of the Lord. Right, you have to take care of the temple of the Lord. Right, you can't let all types of harlots and idolatrous things inside of your temple. Let's get this real quick in 1 Corinthians. Chapter 3 and verse 16, the classic, right? And it reads, know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth within you? If any man defile the temple of the Most High, meaning what? Since you might give yourself over to being a harlot, right? Not on a physical level, but on a spiritual level as well, dealing with all types of, false idols and deities, right? It says, if any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, which temple you are. So you have to understand that, hey, every precept you read, right, chiefly in First Maccabees, hey, we went to war over the temple of the Lord, right? That's how special and important you are to the Most High God, right? You can't let any and everything inside your temple to the Father, right? But let's see how we build this temple. Let's get this in Proverbs, the 7th chapter. Right, Proverbs, the 9th chapter, right? And it reads, wisdom hath builded her house. So in order to build your house, you have to attain into wisdom, right? It says she hath hewn out her 7 pillars, and in the scripture, 7 just represents completion. She hath killed her beasts. She hath mingled her wine, meaning she's got that understanding, the deep, dark sayings, the things that's going to build you up through the Spirit of the Lord. It says she hath also furnished her table. She had sent forth her maidens, and she cried upon the high places of the city, because that's how you have to attain after wisdom. Wisdom is in the chief place of conquerors, and you have to seek it, right? It says, whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she said to him, come eat of my bread. So it says you got to eat of that bread in order to build your household. Why? Because the scriptures say a wise woman will build her house, right? And I yield with that.
Right? Tobit, right? It's the book of Tobit, chapter 2 and verse 9. The same night, the same night also I returned from the burial and slept by the wall of my courtyard being polluted, and my face was uncovered. And I knew not that there was sparrows in the wall, and mine eyes being opened, the sparrows muted warm dung into mine eyes. And a whiteness came into mine eyes, and I went to the physicians, but they helped me not. Moreover, Acharius did nourish me until I went into Elamias. Right. So what? This is Tobit, and he was the worker, and he was the keeper of the house. Right. He was doing all the things that needed to be done, and what he went and done a righteous work by bearing a debt of his brethren. So he was polluted, so he slept outside. Right. And yet a sparrow down muted warm dung in his eyes, and now he's blind. Hey, the physicians can't help him, man. What does his wife do? Right? Does his wife say, hey, you're worthless, you can't do anything, I ain't, what are you to me? So on and so forth. Let's see what his wife did. It says, and my wife, Anna, did take woman's work to do, right? So she got up and went and got a job, right? She said, well, my husband can't work now, right? Now I got to get up and make sure we got something to eat. I got to get up and make sure that we're able to have the money we need in the household, man. So Anna did a righteous thing, right? By literally getting up and doing what needed to be done in reverence to her husband by taking on women's work, man, right? It's a righteous thing to be able to help your husband, right? If you can, right, by taking on women's work or taking on work in general. In Babylon, most of the time, right, the woman can get a job paying a lot more money than the so-called black man, right? The so-called white man loves to pay the so-called black woman above the so-called black man, right? It's not saying that, hey, Jake should be able to just sit around and kick his feet up. Well, you can make more money than me. Go out there and get it. No, what is being said is, right, it's still a righteous thing, right, to be that woman that if you're able to, right, and your husband is unable to, right, to still go out and do what needs to be done, right? That's all that is being brought out by this point. She did what needed to be done, right? Not going crazy on her husband. Well, you always want to help people. You should have never went and buried him, so on and so forth. Nah, she didn't do that. That's what the children of Babylon would do. That's the type of way that Babylon has raised our women up to be and to act. Well, if you would never took your ass out there trying to bury people, you still had your eyes. You still be able to see. You'd be able to get out there and go make that money, right? That's the way Babylon literally perpetuates and puts the mind frame of our women to be, man, right? So we got to understand that it's still a righteous thing, right? If you're able to, right, to take up women's work, man, right? Get another precept. Let's go to the book of Genesis, right? It's the book of Genesis, chapter 12, right? And verse verse 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn. And therefore the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai, his wife, behold, now I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, they shall say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. And my soul shall live because of thee, man. So Sarai, same person, literally had her husband's life up in her hands. Hey, she could have rebelled. Hey, the woman in Babylon would have been like, hell no. Say I'm who? Nah, hell no. Then they gonna take me, And he did take Sarai. She could have been like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Now he gonna take me, and then no. She said, hey, Khan, that's what you need. I got you. Right? That's reverencing and showing love to your husband. It may not be easy to do. It may not have been an easy thing to do. It may have been a scary thing to do, but nonetheless, she did it. Why? Because she loved her husband, which is a righteous act, because the Lord commands a woman to love her husband, man. Right? And it says what? Reading on. And it came to pass that when Abram was coming to Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was fair. The princess also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep, oxen, and asses, and men servants, and maid servants, and she asses, and camels. And the Most High plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, what is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, she is my sister? So I might have taken her to wife. Now therefore, behold, thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away and his wife and all that he had. Right? So he gained possessions in there. Not only did his life get preserved, but he gained possessions in there, all because of his wife doing as he asked him to do and saying what? That she is his sister, man. Right? And I'm led to believe that Sarai had faith in the Most High, and she knew that all things would be well. Right? And because of that faith, not only did the Lord deliver her, of course, but sent them away with great possessions. Right. And there's another account of her doing it again. Right. This is the book, right, of Genesis chapter 20 and verse 2. Now Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, she is my sister. Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. Right. So it happened again. And she said, man, you did this to me again? You gonna do this again? No, she stayed in the spirit, man. And due to that, right, not once again was Abram saved alive, man, right? Through her obedience and her faith in the Most High, right? With that, I yield.
Con, you want to get in there, J. Mike?
Yeah, y'all brought out Titus.
La.
All right. It's Titus. I'm gonna go with 2 and 3. And it says, the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becoming holiness. And we know what holiness is. That would be, of course, set apart. You have to be set apart from the women of this world. Not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, all our righteous foremothers would have been on that same type of time. Like Brother Gabar brought out Sarah. If you even think about Susanna, where they said that, she feared the Lord, and she was brought up in the ways of the law from her youth, from the beginning of her upbringing. You know what I'm saying? Let me get another one.
You should probably grab that account, King. That's a mighty account.
With Susanna? All right. All right. This history of Susanna, I'll just start from the top. It said, there dwelt a man in Babylon called Joachim, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, a very fair woman, and one that feared the Lord. And we already know what the fear of the Lord is. This is a righteous woman. It says, verse 3, her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Now, Joachim was a great rich man and had a fair garden joining unto his house, and to him resorted the Jews, because he was more honorable than all others. The same year were appointed 2 of the ancients of the people to be judges, such as the Lord spake of, that wickedness came from Babylon, from ancient judges, who seemed to govern the people. These kept much at Joachim's house, and all that had any suits in law came unto them. I'm gonna keep going real quick. It says, verse 7. Now when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk, and the 2 elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed towards her. Now it says in verse 6 that, anybody that had a problem with the law came unto these 2 elders. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was handling all the matters. So I know that they knew that the way that they was operating in their own lust was very problematic. You know what I'm saying? But, this is, one of those demons that people take lightly, that can get the best of you. You know what I'm saying? But let me jump down, because this is a pretty lengthy book. We go to 21. It says, if thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. So through their lust, they found the occasion against her, you know what I'm saying, and conspired together against her, knowing that, with these being 2 elders, and knowing that also in our law, with them being crafty in the law, that, 2 witnesses
is you know, dang, that 2 or more witnesses is all you need to establish a matter that they conspired against her to try to come with an occasion to try to lay with her in their lust. So it says, I'm gonna read it again real quick. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. Then Susanna sighed and said, I am straitened on every side, for if I do this thing, it is death unto me, and if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands. It is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the 2 elders cried out against her. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at a privy door to see what was done unto her. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Susanna. So I'm gonna jump down again. But see, you see how they respected these elders, you know what I'm saying, to the utmost. You know, they're basically masters of the law. So what they say go. So verse 41. Then the assembly believed them as those that were the elders and judges of the people, so they condemned her to death. Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting God, that knowest the secrets and knowest all things before they be. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die, whereas I never did such as these men have maliciously invented against me. And the Lord heard her voice. So I mean, we done went through many precepts over many different lessons, knowing that, you know, for the Lord to hear your voice, you would have to be a righteous individual. You would have to be following these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel. Now I'm gonna jump down one last time. Like I said, this is pretty lengthy. I'm trying to touch everything up in here. Verse 59. It says, Then said Daniel unto him, Well, thou hast also lied against thine own head, because, you know, Daniel questioned the 2 elders separately, you know what I'm saying, to basically knowing that they was going to come with 2 separate stories or 2 separate occasions against her, that they was lying, because the Lord put the spirit upon him to rise up and be her defense. It says, Thou hast also lied against thine own head, for the angel of Yahweh waiteth with the sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you. With that, all the assembly cried out with a loud voice and praised God, who saveth them that trust in him. And they arose against the 2 elders, for Daniel had convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor, and they put them to death. Thus the innocent blood was saved the same day. Therefore Chelcias and his wife praised God for their daughter Susanna, with Joachim her husband, and all the kindred, because there was no dishonesty found in her. She was like basically as righteous as they come. You know what I'm saying? But with that, I yield. I took enough time.
Right? Let me get in there, right? And then one thing I want to point out real quick, man, right? This is going back to the history of Susanna, chapter. Well, there's only one chapter, but verse verse 3 and 4. It says, "What her parents also were righteous, and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Now Jehoiakim was a great rich man, and a fair garden joining unto his house, and to him restored the Jews, because he was honorable than all others." Hey, so not only was the parents right in the truth, right, but the husband was as well, man, right? And they was all keeping the commandments of the Most High God, man. And that's very important, because what this is the book of Sirach, chapter 7 and verse 26. Hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not. but give not thyself over to a light woman. Hey, so what? Everybody in the house was like-minded, man. Everybody was well instructed, moving according to the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Most High God, man. That's very important, man. Now, not too many people know that you want to have your wife or a woman should be in like-minded with her husband, man. And if you are a single woman, then your husband is Yahweh Shah, man. So that's what you got to be on like mind too, man. Right? We all got to be in according to the spirit of the Most High God, man. Right? And not everybody in the scriptures, all the mighty women was housewomen. No, man, that's not so, man. Right? There's a lot of actually mighty women in the scriptures, man. This is let's get this book. Let's get this in the book of Judges, chapter 4, and I'm starting at verse 3. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, for he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Israel. So here we go. We got it in the book of Judges, right? Israel is being oppressed, man, right? And let's see what's going on during this time, right? Verse 4. And Deborah, the prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Israel all that time. So here you go. You got the span of 20 years. You have a woman judging the nation of Israel, man, right? And it says what? And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment, man. Hey, so you see that? Hey, sometimes women can give judgment, man. They can give wise counsel as well, man. Right? Right? And so that was happening in this time. And it says what? Verse 6. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, have not the Lord Yahweh of Israel, so the Lord power of Israel commanded, saying, go and draw towards Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and the children of Zebulun. And so here you go right now. Now you got the Lord using a woman to ask another person that the Most High is talking to, asking what's up. Why aren't you doing what the Lord told you to do? The Lord asked you to go up to this land, and you're not doing it. You see that? So, hey, the Lord can use anybody He wants to, man. Right? And then you've come to find out this dude, his name is Barak. He was so scared that he asked her to come up with him. Right? And let's see what was happening. Verse 9. And she said, I will surely go up with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor, for the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hands of a woman. And Deborah arose and went into Barak to Kadesh, and went with Barak to Kadesh. Right? So, hey, not only did that, she prophesied it after that. She said, what? Hey, because you was too scared to do it yourself, hey, the Lord said He's going to sell the head of Syria, Salakia, sell the head of Syria into the hands of a woman, man. And let's find out what woman actually killed the head of Syria. This is jumping down to verse 17. Howbeit, Syria fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. For there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazar, and the house of Heber the Kenite. And Jael went out to meet Sarah, and said unto him, turn in, my lord, turn into me, fear not. And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. Right? And he said unto her, give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk, and she gave him drink and covered him. Again, he said unto her, stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man do come and inquire of thee, and say, is there any man here, that thou shalt say no. Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temple, and fastened it to the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. So the Lord used a woman not only to prophesy, right, but also to save Israel, man. And that's not the first time that that's happened, man. Most High use many women to take our people out of I guess you could say hard places, man. Right? So hey, I just wanted to get that out there, and I'm gonna pass it on to the next brother, man.
Mighty precepts and beautiful points, right? Through the spirit, though, I want to hop on this real quick. You know what I'm saying? Because being a woman in the truth, it's not always going to be easy. You may be single in this thing, and the spiritual demon Satan, you know, he might use your very own members to, what I'm saying, attract Satan if you got ears to hear, right? You know what I'm saying? You might kind of be thirsty and wanting for a husband, but rather, instead of doing that, you might want to cleave unto the Lord. I'm not gonna say you might want to, you need to cleave unto the Lord. And that's just not on a physical level, but on a spiritual level as well. Right? The thing is with a lot of sisters, you know what I'm saying, they get caught up in being so lonely or don't have nobody to congregate with. They get caught up in being they might get caught up in the lust of their flesh with their old homegirls, Keisha, Lecrae, Glorilla and them, right? They don't start to cleave unto the Lord, man. Right? Let me grab this quick precept in Luke chapter 22 and verse 31. It says, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan had desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. Right? So when those old, members of your flesh start to creep upon you, sister, you got to understand, Satan just desires to have you. Right? Which is why what? Yahweh Shah said, your faith have saved you. Right? Yahweh Shah said, hey, matter of fact, let me grab this quick precept in the book of Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 5, real quick. The book of Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 20. I'll start at verse 21. It says, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Most High. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. Now, obviously, if you don't have a husband, right, and your husband will be Yahweh Shai through the Spirit, right? And you should be seeking out that wisdom and that understanding. The Lord said you got to submit yourselves in the fear of Yahweh, right? So understand this. This is the book of Luke, chapter 8, and verse 48, right? And it reads, and he said unto her, daughter, be of good comfort. That's like I'm gonna start at verse 43. Right? It says, and a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which has spent all her living upon physician. Now, obviously, through the spirit, this don't have to be a literal thing applying to you. You don't have to have a literal physical issue of blood. Hey, that might be something hindering you in your faith in this walk to try to serve the Lord. Right? It says, which has spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him and touched the border of his garment. Through the spirit, you kind of touch the border of his garment. When you searching the scriptures daily, when you truly seeking the Lord's face. The Lord says, seek him while he may be found. In the book of Isaiah, the 55th chapter, it says, and immediately her issue of blood stanched. And Yahweh Shai said, who touched me? When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude thronged thee and pressed thee, and saidst thou, who touched thee? You talking about all these different people. Everybody's seeking the Lord's face, right? And you're going to ask about this one person who touched you? And Yahweh Shah said, somebody had touched me, for I perceived that virtue was going out of me, right? And Salaki, could a brother pull that definition up real quick? If they had a mean, I don't have nothing else with me. The definition of virtue, right? Because he said, I perceive that virtue is going out of me.
Said virtue.
Huh.
It says behavior showing high moral standards. Let me see if it got more. A quality considered morally good or desirable in a person.
Right. So, Salaki, could you read that one more time? Like,
Yeah, a quality considered morally good or desirable in a person.
it said a quality desired, right? He said he perceived that virtue, this thing that's more desired than anything. She truly within her heart wanted to be healed. She truly deep within her spirit, hey, she wanted to be saved. She didn't want to go back into her sin. She didn't want to go back in the folly and madness of her flesh, right? It says to like it. And when the woman, verse 47, and when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling and falling down before him. She declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith have made thee whole. Go in peace. And your faith in this thing will make you whole. Your true belief in cleaving unto the Lord through trials and tribulation, through hard times, through things may not be going your way at the moment, right? It just may be your season. And you truly cleaving unto the Lord and not going back into the nasty, filthy ways of Babylon, right? Hey, the Lord said your faith have made thee whole and be in good peace, right? I'm gonna grab this last precept real quick in Isaiah 26 and verse 3. All right. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse number 3 says, Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Right? And you gotta understand, our forefathers and foremothers, their minds were stayed on the Lord. Right? Judith wouldn't have been able to overthrow the Assyrians, if I'm not mistaken, if her mind was stayed upon the Lord. Right? Esther, she wouldn't have been able to save her people, right? They while dealing with a nasty, dirty heathen, if her mind wasn't stayed upon the Lord, right? Hey, Susanna, it tell you I'm gonna grab this last precept, so like it, all right? I'm gonna grab this last precept in Susanna real quick, right? It's the same principle because Susanna's faith saved her as well. And I know brothers read it, but I gotta bring it out one more time through the Spirit. Why? Because their mind was stayed on the Lord. This is History of Susanna, chapter 1, and I'll start at verse Salagi. I'm gonna start at verse 43. It's like 42 says, Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting God, that knowest the secrets and knowest all things before they be. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die. Whereas I never did such a thing as these men have maliciously invented against me. And the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, hold on, I said the Lord heard her voice. Much like when the lady walked up to Yahushua and said, Lord, it was me. And what did Yahushua say? He said, Hey, your faith have made thee whole. Go and be in good peace. All right. It says, Salaki, and the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth, whose name was Daniel. Right? So through that tribulation, the Lord made a way out of it. So you got to have that same type of faith that the Lord could deliver you, that the Lord could keep you sustained, and that the Lord would keep your spirit on fire. Right? With that, I yield.
I'm kind of gonna go into the same thing, man. Having that faith in the Lord and your eyes continuously stayed upon the Lord, man. Right? Because these sisters that I'm about to bring out, their eyes was continuously stayed upon the Lord. Right? This is the book of John, St. John chapter 11, right, in verse 13. Howbeit Yahushua spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking rest and sleep. Then said Yahushua unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. Right? And Lazarus is the brother of Mary and Martha, right? So imagine your brother's dead. He's been dead 4 days, man. And Yahushua kind of shows up. And he shows up, right? And look what he tells you. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto the fellow disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. Then when Yahushua came, he found that he had lain in the grave 4 days. So he's been dead 4 days, man. Right? 4 days. Right? So I'm going to jump down to verse 23. Yahushua saith unto her, Thy brother shall rise again. Martha saith unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Yahushua said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth believeth in me, shall never die. Believest thou this? Right? And we'll see what she says. She saith unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Hamashiach, the son of Yahweh, which should come into the world. Right? So she said, hey, I believe. Yeah, I believe you're the Hamashiach. I believe you have all the power. Right? I believe that literally, hey, you can raise my brother up from the dead. Hey, how much more so should you have faith in the Lord for the things that you go through, for your trials and your tribulation? She's believing that even though her brother's been dead 4 days, that he's still going to be able to raise him up. So if she believes that, hey, you should be able to believe the Lord can push you through anything that he brings you to, man. You should believe that. You should have the utmost faith in that, man. And a lot of our people, they say they have faith and they don't really have faith. A lot of our people, and they say they have faith and they don't want to have faith because they want to walk away from the affliction. They say they have faith that the Lord can bring. Oh, I know the Lord is all powerful, but the moment things begin to afflict them, they don't want to have faith anymore because they don't want to stay in the fire. Well, then you don't really love the Lord, man, because the Lord is putting you through that fire for you to be tried, right? And this was a trial not only for Mary and Martha, right, but it was a trial for everybody that knew Lazarus. And once he rose Lazarus from the dead, hey, many believers came. So once, hey, you make it through your trial, you have no idea how many believers can come through your faith in Yahweh Shai, man. Through your faith in the Most High, you have no idea how many people can see what the Lord has brought you to and through, and how you had so much strength in the Lord. How many people may turn to the Lord because of what you've been through and what the Lord brought you through, right? So these sisters was righteous, man. Let me go to, we read this at the end of camp every week, man. I'm gonna read it right now because it's mighty, right? It's the book of Matthew, right? Chapter 26 and verse 7. And it says, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box full of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when the disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she have wrought a good work upon me. So she's bringing a good work upon Yahushua. Hey, you got to bring good works upon Yahushua. Your faith is a good work upon Yahushua. Your belief in the Lord is a good work upon Yahushua. You keeping the commandments is a good work upon Yahushua, man. You suffering through affliction is a good work upon Yahushua, right? And it says what? For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she have poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there also this that this woman have done be told for memorial of her. Right, and that's plain. Now let me because I want to touch on what she actually, because John gives you more in depth of what she actually did when she poured that ointment. Right? Go to John chapter 12. Right? The book of John, chapter 12, right? And verse number 1. Then Yahushua 6 days before the Passover came to Bethany, where Lazarus, which had been dead, whom he had raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with him. Then took Mary a pound of ointment. A pound of ointment. You know how valuable a pound of ointment is, man? That's valuable as hell. It says what? A pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Yahushua, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Man, she literally wiped his feet with her hair, man. Right? Literally wiped his feet with her hair. Come on, man. That's more than submissive. That's more than humbleness. That's more than meekness, man. These are all the ways that a righteous woman should be moving: in faith, in submission, in righteousness, in meekness, in shamefacedness, man. Right? And she's just demonstrating all these things by her works, not by her words. Many women would love to say, hey, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. How many times have we been out somewhere at like Gray Street and we run into an Eve and she says she Proverbs 31 and she half naked and going off? You know, she's not saying those words, right? She's showing it in her works and in her actions, man. So what? we got to look at these accounts, man, right? Let me get another one. Right? Salakia. Right? Let's go to I think it's Luke. Bear with me. We running low on time. We're gonna have to do probably part 2 next week, man. We're running low on time already, man. Right? This is Luke chapter 7 and verse. This is the book of Luke chapter 7 and verse 36. And one of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him. And he went out into the Pharisee's house and sat down to meat. And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, when she knew that Yahushua sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment and stood at his feet behind him, weeping, and began to wash his feet with her tears, and wiped them with the hair of her head, and kissed his feet, and anointed them with the ointment. Now, when the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it, he spake within himself, saying, this man, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of woman this is that toucheth him, for she is a sinner. And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Simon, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And he said, Master, say on. There was a certain creditor. Well, I'm gonna rest on that. The whole point of the matter is, right? Hey man, she now was crying and wiping the feet of Yahushua with her tears in her hair, man. That's submission. That's belief. That's love. Right? And we got to look at these accounts, man, right? And take them onto ourselves and apply them to how we show the Lord that we love him, man. Right? And with that, I yield. And brothers, gotta make these precepts quick. We got to get up out of here.
Since Brother Potter had touched on prophetesses, you know what I'm saying? Brothers already talk about righteous, faithful women. I'm going to go on to account of a prophetess. And it's many of them. Like he went to Deborah. Miriam was considered a prophetess. It's a bunch of them. So this is 2 Kings 22. And I'm going to start at 8 for context. It says, and Hilkiah the priest said unto Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. Let me jump down. Verse 11 says, and it came to pass when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes, because they wasn't keeping the law at that time. They just found the book. So what happened? Verse 12, and the king commanded Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam the son of Shaphan, and Achbor the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Ashiah a servant of the king's, saying, go ye inquire of the Lord for me and for the people and for all Judah concerning the words of this book that is found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book, to do according to all that which is written concerning us. So Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, and Achbor, and Shaphan, and Ashiah went unto Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shalom, the son of Tikva, the son of Harhas, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they communed with her. So apparently she was a very studious woman, as well as a prophetess. Verse 15, and she said unto them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, tell the man that sent you to me, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon this place and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the words of the book which the king of Judah have read, because they have forsaken me and have burned incense unto other gods, that they might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place and shall not be quenched. Now, for sake of time, you go down for the sincerity, the contrite spirit of the king of Judah. You know what I'm saying? The Lord, didn't fully execute that. You know what I'm saying? But you see that with Huldah, the Lord is dealing with her just as he would deal with Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. The word of the Lord came straight down to her. She offered them their judgment. You know what I'm saying? We get another one. It's Luke 2:36. And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age and had lived with a husband 7 years from her virginity. And she was a widow of about 64 which departed not from the temple, but served Yahweh with fastings and prayers night and day. And she coming into the instant gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. So if you want to talk about virtuous or a woman of virtue, like Gabar was going into, she'll apparently be considered one. She served the Lord with fastings and prayer night and day. And last one, really quick, this is Acts 21:8, and it says, and the next day we that were of Paul's company departed and came unto Caesarea, and we entered into the house of Philip the evangelist, which was one of the 7, and abode with him. And the same man had 4 daughters, virgins, which did prophesy. The point of that was that there was a bunch of prophetesses in the Bible. There was a bunch of righteous women in the Bible. Don't think that, you just got to resort to Mary, Martha, Miriam. Like it was a bunch of women. Some of them weren't named, you know what I'm saying? But there was a bunch of righteous women in the Bible, you know what I'm saying, that you sisters could, look up to, for lack of better words. But you got it, Potter.
Hey, real quick, you know what I'm saying? In Romans, the 16th chapter, Paul lists like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different women in the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? That was doing the work with them, man. But that's all I had to say.
All right. So with that, Lord willing, somebody was edified or be edified in the coming days. Lord willing, we do a part 2 on it next week. It may not be in the exact realm, but it'll be something still admonishing and trying to groom up the sisters on continuing to build in the righteousness after knowing that they're Israelites, man. So with that, y'all have a mighty rest of your Shabbat, right? We'll be at Discovery Green at 3 p.m. as usual. Come out and fellowship, ask questions. It's a beautiful day, man. Come out. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.